Darren Till will be making his middleweight debut against Kelvin Gastelum. This is the battle camp. Please hit the subscribe button. You'll find it at the bottom right hand corner of your screen. So it was announced yesterday, late last night, so it was too late for me to jump on YouTube to make a video. I saw an announcement from the one and only Brett Okamoto, and he confirmed that Darren Till will be facing Kelvin Gastelum at UFC 244, which will take place at Madison Square Garden on November the 2nd. Now, this move to middleweight was on the cards for Darren Till. I feel like ever since he failed to make weight against Wonderboy Thompson, that's all anyone ever talked about, his weight and whether he should be fighting at welterweight. Obviously, since that fight, he lost to Jorge Masvidal, and before that, he lost to Tyron Woodley. So it makes sense for him to move up. To me, what doesn't make sense is having your first fight at middleweight against Kelvin Gastelum. Like, I'm not saying that he can't win this fight against Gastelum, but what I am saying is, fucking hell, give him a fucking chance to cut his teeth, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you listen to his interview on Ariel Helwani a couple of weeks ago, he mentioned that when he was in the back getting ready to fight Tyron Woodley, he felt like he was too relaxed. He was too relaxed in his preparation, in the process that he does before a fight, and he felt that reflected in his performance in the cage. And then he said when he fought Jorge Masvidal, he was too amped up because he was aware of how he felt against Tyron Woodley, so he tried his best to G himself up to make sure the same thing doesn't happen again. And what turns out is he felt like he was too G'd up. The point I'm making is, for all the fights that Darren Till has had, he is very inexperienced at the highest level. And when we talk about the highest level, I wouldn't really consider Cowboy Cerrone as a top level welterweight. So if you look at his record in terms of who he's fought in the welterweight division, he's won 1 and lost 2. Now, I think we can all agree that the middleweight division, in theory, should be the best place for him. But we don't know that for a fact. He's never fought at that weight class in the UFC. 15 pounds is a big difference in terms of making weight before fight night. He's going to go up to middleweight and fight Gastelum. Gastelum, although they're the same age roughly, Gastelum is a seasoned vet compared to Darren Till. Gastelum has been fighting top level UFC fighters, top 10 at least, since like 2014. For 5 years he's just been at it. He's been there, done it, and bought the fucking t-shirt or got a Reebok one. Darren Till's experience levels are so much lower than what Kelvin Gastelum's got. I'm seriously, like, I just don't understand the thought process behind it. Like, fight someone in the top 10, fight someone in the top 15. There's no reason to just go straight up and fight someone like Kelvin Gastelum. Also, what has he done to warrant a fight with Kelvin Gastelum? With all due respect, we're talking about a man that's lost his last 2 fights. Kelvin Gastelum, in a lot of people's opinions and eyes, is top 3, top 4 middleweight, top 5 definitely. A lot of people, myself included, would be excited to watch Whittaker fight Gastelum, because we want to see how that pans out, given how close the fight with Israel Adesanya was. What has Darren Till done to deserve this fight? Fair enough, he's got himself into a position, he's got a level of notoriety, he's got a level of popularity, he's a name in the UFC. But for his own sake, his own career, what is the rationale behind him fighting Gastelum now? Because even if he wins this fight, that's it. He has to take the next level of opponent after that. There's no going back to fight a top 15 fighter after Gastelum. That's not how it works in the UFC. Darren Till has got a lot, not necessarily so much to learn about his opponents, but he's got a lot to learn about himself and how to control himself in different situations understand and see how he reacts in different situations, and then see how he can improve on those reactions, see how he can anticipate different situations in big fights, and see how he can improve on those rather than just going on gut and instinct the whole time. It bothers. It's like MTK are his management company, who are a massive company over here in the UK and Ireland and Europe generally when it comes to boxing, but do they have anyone in the team that knows MMA? Because yeah, this is probably the biggest payday available to him, but what about the longevity of his career? What about his sporting aspirations? What about his goals of becoming a UFC champion? For me, this doesn't seem the right route to take. I'm not saying just fight a complete nobody, just fight a tomato can, as I say in fight sports. Fight someone that is genuine competition, but fight someone not as dangerous as a Kelvin Gastelum, someone with fast hands, someone with legit punching power, someone that can actually fucking wrestle, someone that's been at middleweight for years, someone that is, I've said it about 10 times already, but someone that is genuinely experienced and he's at the upper echelon of that division. This is a massive risk and a massive gamble that didn't need to be taken. This first fight in the middleweight division could have been basically, I'm just going to see how I feel at this weight. I'm not sure if this is going to be a permanent thing. I just want to see how I feel at this weight. So I want a live opponent, but I'm not necessarily committing to being a middleweight this day moving forward. Having said all that, fuck me, the ball's on the kid. You can't knock it. You can't knock the fact that he's decided to not only step up to a new weight class, but he's decided to take on a Kelvin Gastelum. He deserves a lot of credit for that. And for his sake, I hope it pans out well for him, because I like Darren Till. I'm a big fan of his fighting style. I like him I like his character in terms of how he comes across in the interviews of his that I've seen and stuff like that. He seems like a nice, down to earth, genuine bloke. I want him to do well. I want him to succeed. And the point I'm trying to make in this video isn't against him as a fighter, because he's shown as a fighter he'll fight fucking anybody. Majority of the fighters in the UFC will fight anybody, apart from someone like Brian Caraway. But the point is, this is an unnecessary risk that you're taking. And the onus isn't on you, it's on the fucking UFC, it's on your management team, it's on your team in general. And I just think that there's too much risk involved with this. You're the big fish, you're the name, you're the guy that people want to fight. You can go about this in your own time and build yourself up to being a contender in the middleweight division. And I can't see why his team can't see that. Who knows, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they're completely right and it works out really well for him. I'm not saying that I want him to lose, I am just saying that I don't necessarily agree with this being your first fight in the middleweight division. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Put your comments below, man. What do you think about what I've just said? What do you think about Kelvin Gastelum as Till's first opponent in the middleweight division? Who do you think's got the strengths? Who do you think's got the weaknesses? Who do you think's going to win? Do you think this is a bad fight for Kelvin Gastelum maybe? I don't know. But yeah, put your comments below. Don't be scared to hit the like button. Don't be scared to share this with a friend if you've enjoyed the video. And subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you guys on the next one.